Hey everybody, the one who thinks they're just getting by, scrolling through this like it is just another piece of content. Congratulations, sweetheart. You got S+ rank on the divine exam, and hell had to write a whole patch note about you. This soul is a known issue. That's you. You know what that means, right? It means the universe didn't just notice you. It means the system had to stop, lag, freeze for a second, and go, hold on, this one's messing with the code. Because you weren't born to fit into this nice, clean little template everyone else is begging to squeeze into. No. You're the error message. You're the glitch in the simulation. You're the one the devs argue about in the back room like, who authorized this? Why is this soul built like that? And you sit there thinking you're weak. You think you're behind. You think you're failing. You think you're the problem. Isn't that cute? Listen, you don't get S+ rank on the divine exam because your life was easy. You don't get that badge because everything went smoothly and everyone loved you and your mental health bar was always full with a constant healing aura on you. No. You get that rank because life spawned you on hardcore mode with no tutorial and then threw you into situations that should have broken you 10 different times. You ever notice that? How your story reads more like a bug report than a fairy tale. Subject was born into chaos, raised around unstable people, experienced betrayal from the very ones who preached love, trust issues, anxiety, depression, trauma, overthinking, still didn't log out. And heaven looked at that file, stamped it, and said, S+. Meanwhile, hell looked at it and went, yeah, that's going to be a problem, because you're not just some background character. You're not an easily manipulated NPC. You're not just another user mindlessly clicking accept all on every condition this world throws at you. You ask questions. You feel too much. You care too deeply. You see through things you're not supposed to see through. That's why they call you too much, by the way. Too emotional, too intense, too sensitive, too difficult, too rebellious. Translation, you're not as controllable as we'd like. This soul is a known issue. You have any idea how dangerous that makes you? Look at your life for a second. Seriously, just zoom out. How many times did life try to delete you? The nights you thought about disappearing. The mornings you woke up and felt like your existence was a mistake. The days you moved through school, work, home like a ghost. The moments you stared at your own reflection and felt physically sick. And yet, you're still here. That's not an accident. That's not laziness. That's not weakness. That's raw, unpatched resilience. That's a soul refusing to uninstall itself, even when every environment it's been loaded into screamed, not compatible. See, that's the first thing you need to understand. You don't feel broken because you are broken. You feel broken because you're running divine software in a corrupted system. Of course it glitches. Of course it crashes. Of course you feel lagged, out of sync, out of place. You were never built for this cheap little imitation of life they're trying to sell you. The hustle until you burn out, smile through the trauma, fit in, or get left behind nonsense. You were built for something that scares both heaven and hell. Heaven applauds your potential. Hell fears your activation. You think hell cares when another bland, lifeless, copy-paste soul joins the party? No. That's business as usual. Easy to manage, easy to manipulate, easy to distract with superficial dopamine hits. But you overthink, you question, you see patterns, you feel injustice like a fire under your skin. You get gut feelings that turn out to be right way too often. You can't fully numb yourself, no matter how hard you try. That's not a flaw, that's a feature. And hell wrote it as a known issue. Because from their perspective, the worst thing that can happen is not some angel descending with a flaming sword. No, the worst thing that can happen is you finally realizing what you are and deciding to stop playing small. Imagine the terror in the underworld when one day your file updates from confused, self-doubting, depressed user to self-aware problem. Do you know what happens when a soul becomes a problem for hell? They stop reacting. They start choosing. And oh, they hate that. You've spent so much of your life apologizing, haven't you? Sorry for being quiet. Sorry for being loud. Sorry for needing help. Sorry for not needing them. Sorry for existing this way. Every room you shrink a little. Every relationship you dim a little. Every time someone judged you, you updated yourself to be more acceptable, more user-friendly, more predictable. You keep nerfing yourself. You've got an S+ soul running like it's been downgraded to C- just so nobody gets uncomfortable. You're walking around like you're on trial, like your whole existence is a crime you're trying to defend. But here's the twist. You are not on trial. You are the glitch in the system that exposes the trial itself. The way your parents treated you, the way that X manipulated you, the way that job drained you, the way society told you who you should be. You were never the problem. You were the stress test. They failed. You passed. That's the divine exam. You think it's some clean little multiple choice test with a halo sticker at the end. No. It's ugly. It's messy. It's nights where you cry so hard your chest hurts. Days where you walk around numb. Moments where you wonder if you're fundamentally unlovable. And somehow, deep down, even in your darkest moment, a tiny part of you whispers, "Not yet. I'm not done." That whisper, that's the divine grading system. Every time you stayed, every time you tried again, every time you loved, even after being shattered. Tick, 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 S+. You think your pain is evidence against you. It's evidence for you. You have seen things. You have felt things. You carry memories in your chest like landmines. You walk through life with invisible bruises no one claps for you for surviving. And you still manage to care about others. You still manage to laugh sometimes. You still manage to dream, even if those dreams feel stupid or far away or impossible. Do you know how rare that is? There are people out there with half your story who turned into monsters. There are people who used their pain as justification to ruin everyone around them. There are people who decided, if I hurt, everyone will hurt. You're not like that. You hurt and you protect. You hurt and you don't want anyone else to feel it. You hurt and you stay soft in places you had every right to harden. That's why you're documented as a known issue. You break patterns. You break cycles. You break expectations. You are the child in a broken bloodline who says, "It ends with me." And hell wrote that down in their little patch notes, like, "Warning, this soul is actively patching generational trauma. Expected impact, long-term structural damage to our operations. You're dangerous, not because you're evil, because you're awake." Look at the world you live in. Addiction everywhere. People numbing themselves on autopilot, comparing their worst days to someone else's highlight reel. Chasing status, followers, validation, anything to distract from the hollow sound inside when they're alone. And you feel that hollow too. But instead of just turning up the volume to drown it out, You stare straight into it and ask, "What is this? What is wrong with me?" Let me update that for you. Nothing is wrong with you. You're just not satisfied with a fake life. You crave meaning. You crave depth. You crave something real, even if it hurts. You want conversations that actually say something. You want relationships where both people grow. You want work that doesn't make your soul feel like it's suffocating. That's not dysfunction. That's alignment. And when a soul like that wakes up, hell loses business. Because suddenly you're not buying the same lies anymore. You're not chasing the same empty goals. You're not impressed by the same shallow games. You stop letting guilt run your schedule. You stop letting fear write your story. You stop letting shame define your identity. You become inconvenient to the ones who benefited from your silence, to the ones who thrived off your confusion, to the ones who only loved you as long as you stayed small. They liked you better when you thought you were nothing, didn't they? More manageable, less problematic, easier to gaslight, because a soul that thinks it's worthless is easy to own. But a soul that knows it's S+, good luck controlling that. That's why I'm talking to you like this, because you've been walking around with God-tier potential, acting like you're some background extra, hiding your mind, hiding your heart, hiding your weirdness, your ideas, your gifts, your fire, because somewhere along the way you decided that being yourself was dangerous. And you were right. It is dangerous. Dangerous to the system that profits from your self-hatred. Dangerous to the patterns that kept your family stuck. Dangerous to the demons that studied your weaknesses and now have to rework their whole strategy because you're evolving. Think about the times you almost gave up. Not the dramatic Instagram quote version. No, the real ones. When you were tired down to your bones. When you were staring at nothing, feeling everything. When you were this close to deleting yourself from your own story. What pulled you back? A song, a friend, a random video, a tiny spark of maybe it can still get better. That spark wasn't random. That was the devs refusing to let the enemy patch you out. This soul is a known issue, but we are not authorizing their removal. You get that? They can't delete you. So what do instead? They gaslight you into doing it for them. They whisper, "You're broken. You're behind. You're too late. You're too much. You're not enough." And you repeat it over and over like code. You internalize it. You make it your script. I'm telling you now, rewrite it. Look, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and magically feel healed and confident and unstoppable. That's not how this works. You don't go from self-hating to self-loving overnight, like some cheesy movie montage. What you can do is this. Stop lying about who and what you are. Stop calling yourself weak when you've survived hell with no manual. Stop calling yourself lazy when you are exhausted from carrying invisible mountains. Stop calling yourself crazy when your nervous system has just been on red alert for years. Stop calling yourself unlovable when all you ever did was love the wrong people harder than they deserved. You are not broken. You are battle-tested. You're that character in a game who shows up with scars, a complicated backstory, and skills nobody taught you officially. But somehow you just have them because you learned the hard way. You're the one other characters go to when it gets real. And right now, you're still trying to convince yourself you're insignificant. Why? Because if you accept that you're S+, you no longer get the luxury of pretending your life doesn't matter. You no longer get to hide behind, "I'm nothing." You'd have to admit that your choices have weight, that your days count, that your existence affects more than just you. And that's scary. It's easier to say, I'm nobody, than to admit, I'm dangerous if I ever get my head on straight. But here's the thing, you're not waiting to become that soul. You already are that soul. You're just not operating like it yet. You're running on safe mode. You're throttled. Your rate limited by old beliefs that were installed without your consent. So what now? You start moving like a known issue. When you walk into a room, stop mentally apologizing for existing. When you talk, stop editing every sentence mid-speech to make sure nobody is mildly uncomfortable. When you feel something strongly, stop gaslighting yourself into believing you're overreacting just because everyone else is numb. You are not here to be digestible. You are not here to be palatable. You are not here to be their favorite flavor of nothing. You are here to break something, break silence, break patterns, break limits. You are the one who turns, this is just how it is, into not anymore. Yeah, you're going to be misunderstood. Yeah, you're going to be misquoted, misjudged, mislabeled. Yeah, some people will only ever see you as the problem. They're reading the patch notes from hell, not the ranking from heaven. Let them. You don't exist to clean up their misunderstanding. You exist to live your assignment. And your assignment is not small. You feel that, don't you? That constant itch in your chest. That sense that you're meant for more than this bland little loop you've been stuck in. That almost annoying inner voice that says, this cannot be all there is for me. That's your true self, banging on the glass, yelling, wake up, we're wasting daylight. So here's what you do. Not next year. Not when you feel ready. Now, mentally, at least. You pick one thing you've been holding back on and you push. That idea you keep dismissing because who would care? That project you keep saying you'll start when life calms down. That boundary you know you've needed to set, but you're scared of losing people. That version of yourself that feels too bold, too honest, too intense. That's the one. That's the S+ version. Run it. Let the people who only knew the watered down you be shocked. Let the systems built on your silence get a little shaky. Let the old you scream from the sidelines while you move anyway. You think hell isn't watching. Oh, they're tuned in like it's a live stream. User is waking up. User is questioning the script. User is no longer responding to shame prompts correctly. User is taking action despite fear. Warning, warning, warning. This soul is a known issue. Good. Be an issue. Be the bug they can't fix. Be the variable they can't predict. Be the soul that refuses to stay inside the lines drawn by people who benefit from your confusion. Look, you're going to have bad days. You're going to spiral. You're going to doubt this entire speech at 3 a.m. and think, nah, that's not me. I'm not that strong. That's fine. Doubt is part of the process. But every time you hear that voice, remember this. The grading is already in. You're not working for your S+. You have it. Your job now is not to earn your worth. It's to act like you're worth what you already survived. If all the pain you've carried, all the tears you've swallowed, all the nights you kept yourself alive, if all of that was the exam, then walking in your power is just you finally accepting the grade. So take a breath. You're not ordinary. You never were. You were just heavily targeted. And no matter how many times they tried to patch you out, rewrite you, nerf you into submission, you're still here. S+ rank. Divine exam. Cleared. Status. Known issue. Start behaving like it. You start to feel it first in the tiny moments where you'd usually shrink. Someone talks over you. You'd normally go quiet, swallow your thought, convince yourself it wasn't important anyway. This time, your brain goes, "Nope, that was mine." And your mouth actually follows through. You say it again, a little clearer. Their eyes flick to you, surprised. That's the patch kicking in. You stop treating your voice like background noise. You start treating it like main audio. You stop editing yourself out of your own scenes. And yeah, it feels weird. You feel exposed, awkward, a bit like you're glitching in public. Good. You were built to glitch through the fake. You begin to break these little contracts you never realized you signed. Those unspoken deals where you agreed to be the quiet one, the understanding one, the forgiving one, the emotional sponge, the backup plan, the emotional support NPC. You start catching yourself mid-pattern. You get that familiar guilt spike. If I say no, they'll think I'm selfish. And then another voice cuts through. Or they'll finally see I'm not their emotional landfill. You've always felt like a problem. The difference is, you used to treat that as shame. This is where it shifts into power. They said, "You're difficult." You hear, "You're not easy to manipulate." They said, "You're too sensitive." You hear, "You actually register damage in a world that calls numbness strength." They said, "You're overreacting." You hear, "You're reacting exactly right to something we'd prefer to ignore." That's the thing about being labeled an issue. The label is always written by the ones who benefit from the bug staying unfixed. You weren't made to be easy. You were made to be honest. Your existence challenges people who want comfort more than truth. That's why they talk about you like you're a malfunction, not a mirror. And it's wild, because you sit there thinking, if they all see me as the problem, doesn't that mean I am? Nah. Think about it like this. If a toxic system keeps flagging the same user as disruptive, maybe that's the user who actually sees what's wrong with the system. You've always seen too much. You notice the energy shifts. You catch the microaggressions. You feel the manipulation before the words even land. You ever had that moment where your body goes, something's off, and everyone else is laughing like everything's fine? You're not paranoid, you're perceptive. That perception made you a target. Kids who ask why scare adults who depend on because I said so. Empaths scare users who feed on chaos. Self-aware people scare manipulators who rely on confusion. And you've been all three. You've been the kid who didn't let nonsense go unquestioned. You've been the empath who felt the room's tension more than your own heartbeat. You've been the self-aware one who knew deep down, this isn't right. Even when everyone else was co-signing the madness. Of course, hell wrote you up. Known issue. Detects lies too quickly, unstable in environments built on denial, does not stay silent after damage taken. From your side, it just felt like, why can't I just be normal? Because normal in a sick environment is just a polite way of saying adapted to dysfunction. You weren't meant to adapt, you were meant to agitate. Think about how many times you've tried to downgrade yourself just to blend in. You dumbed yourself down in conversations so people wouldn't look at you weird. You numbed your feelings because everyone else seemed fine with things that were shredding you internally. You hid your passions because they didn't match the template that was expected of you. You treated your depth like a crime. And every time you did that, you felt this quiet grief, like you were watching your own soul get edited out the frame. That grief wasn't weakness. That was your spirit protesting the nerf. You can feel it even right now while you're listening. That ache, that I'm meant for more than this discount version of myself I keep showing up as. You are. You're not here to be acceptable. You're here to be undeniable. Not in some flashy cinematic way where everyone claps and loves you. In that unsettling way where your presence forces people to realize things about themselves. Some will grow, some will attack, some will leave. Your job isn't to control which. You're the known issue. You trigger reactions by existing. You reveal where people stand simply by walking into their life fully. That's why it felt like people either clung to you obsessively or tried to crush you early. There was rarely a neutral response, right? Because you don't land neutrally. You land like a bug exposing faulty code. Once you show up, people can't pretend their code is clean. And you've been blaming yourself for the way their code reacts. You think if I were better, they would have treated me right. If I were easier, they would have stayed. If I were enough, they would have chosen me. Hello, lovely little liars, pretend saints, fractured angels. I see you, the ones smiling with stitched-up scars, the ones walking through crowds like they're not even there, the ones who get told you've changed when all you did was stop hiding the thing you've always been. Let me guess, someone just caught a glimpse, didn't they? They finally saw it. That glimmer behind your eyes that wasn't made of hope, but hunger. That wasn't kindness, but calculation. That wasn't purity, but power, unfiltered and furious. And now they're shaking, telling you you're not the same. Oh, sweethearts, they're wrong. You were never that person to begin with. You're not human, maybe not. Maybe you're the reminder that humanity abandoned its own soul a long time ago, because when they looked at you, they expected a candle, and instead they got a wildfire that doesn't ask permission to burn. They expected a healer, and you became the infection. They expected a savior, but you brought a flood, and now they panic. Because the light they loved was just the decoy. You fooled them so well, so soft, so sweet, so radiant, until they asked too much, until they pushed too far, until they knocked on the wrong door in your mind. And something opened. Oh, the terror on their face when they realized the thing they thought was saving them was the same thing that could swallow them whole. They wanted a flower. You gave them fangs wrapped in petals. And now you're the villain? No, no, no. Let me tell you what you really are. You are proof that survival creates demons out of dreamers. You are evidence that when the world beats you long enough, you stop asking for mercy and start becoming the punishment. They call you a monster because they don't understand your language. They don't speak in scars. They don't think in shadows. They've never had to turn pain into fuel just to wake up in the morning. They call you not human? Good, let them. Because to be human in this world is to be asleep at the wheel. But you're wide awake, and that frightens them. You see, they never cared when you were bleeding behind closed doors. But the moment you used that blood to paint your war paint, suddenly you're dangerous. The moment your silence turned into laughter, they couldn't understand. Suddenly you're unwell. No, you're not unwell. You're unleashed. You stopped apologizing for being something bigger than they could handle. You stopped shrinking to fit inside their narratives. And when you're light, your beautiful, blinding, radiant light started cracking open to reveal the thing inside that made you survive it all. They screamed, because that light wasn't holy. It was nuclear, You were never their angel. You were the warning label they ignored, and now they're choking on the consequences. Let them fear you. Let them whisper. Let them lie to each other about what you became. Because you know the truth. You didn't become anything. You just finally had the audacity to show the rest of yourself. You didn't lose your soul. You found it in the fire. They thought they were entitled to your gentleness. They thought your silence meant submission. They confused your patience with weakness, your forgiveness with fragility. They saw your tears and mistook them for cracks. But they didn't realize. You weren't breaking. You were molting. You were evolving. Behind every polite smile, there was a snarl. Behind every nod was a calculation. Behind every "I'm fine" was a storm sharpening its blades. You tried to warn them. You tried to hold it back. You tried to stay nice. But nice is just the coma before the awakening. And darling, you've woken up, haven't you? You don't crave validation anymore. You crave freedom. You crave silence, not applause. And when you walk into the room now, they feel it. That shift in the air, the drop in temperature. Because something's off, isn't it? They don't know what you are anymore. And that's the point. You used to be predictable, palatable. Now you're a question no one wants the answer to. You've become unreadable, unreachable, unforgivable, and oh, how beautiful that is. You stopped living for their comfort and started living for your chaos. Because behind that light, the monster wasn't some rabid beast, no. The monster was the you that refused to die. The one that crawled out of every breakdown, the one that laughed in the middle of betrayal, the one that learned how to dance while bleeding. You didn't become the monster. You remembered it. You unburied it. You let it speak. And now, it's not hiding anymore. Now it walks beside you, not to destroy everything, but to remind the world that you are no longer someone they can hurt without consequences. You're not human? Maybe not. Maybe you're the reckoning that walks like a memory. Maybe you're the echo of every suppressed scream, the ghost of every injustice they told you to let go of. But guess what? You didn't let go. You held on. You carried it. You fed it. You nurtured it into something ancient and divine and dangerous. And when they looked too close, they saw it. They saw that your light didn't come from peace. It came from war, from battles you fought alone, from nights where you didn't sleep because the demons inside wouldn't stop laughing. And now they've realized you weren't the candle. You were the furnace. You weren't the dove. You were the dragon, wearing feathers. So when they tell you you're not human, smile, because they finally understand. You're not like them. You never were. Oh, I've always known you. You're the one they tried to forget. The one who turned exile into empire. The one who made pain a blueprint and built a kingdom from every scar. They keep saying you're too intense now, too cold, too quiet, too loud, too much, too something. But what they really mean is, we don't know how to control you anymore. And that scares them, because they used to know you. When you were contained, when you were digestible, when your light was just bright enough to serve them, but never bright enough to burn them. Now, you scorch. Now you walk in, and suddenly everyone feels their masks slipping. Because the thing about monsters like you is, you don't just walk into a room. You unmask it. You see people for what they are. You smell fear in flattery. You taste lies in compliments. You hear cowardice hiding behind concern. And that terrifies them. Because you're not playing nice anymore. You're not pretending to be blind to their hypocrisy. You're not bending. You're breaking their little realities just by existing. And isn't that beautiful? They call you the villain now. Good, because you are the villain in a story that was never meant to let you win. They gave you the role of the broken. You rewrote it into the unbreakable. They wanted you to stay humble, but humble was just code for quiet while we use you. And now you've become something that doesn't kneel. You became the silence between lightning and thunder, the stillness before impact. You are the moment just before the scream. Not human? No. You are the result of everything they tried to bury, everything they tried to shame out of you, everything they said was too much. And now it's all here, standing in front of them with eyes that say, "You should have left me alone." They saw the monster behind your light. Finally. But it's too late. Because now the monster isn't hiding anymore. Now the monster wears your name like a crown. Now the monster speaks with your voice. Now the monster is home. So here's what they'll never admit. They didn't love your light. They loved how your light made them feel. Warm, safe, worshipped. But the moment that light stopped serving their comfort, the moment it started exposing their shadows, the moment you turned that glow inward and started healing yourself instead of them, suddenly you were selfish. Suddenly you were changing. Suddenly you weren't loving anymore. Funny, isn't it? How love to them meant you bleeding quietly in the dark so they could shine. But now you radiate for yourself. You walk in power, not permission. You speak truth, not appeasement. You don't smile unless it's earned. And it drives them insane. Because people like that, they don't want you to grow. They want you to stay beneath them, on your knees, apologizing for ever daring to become something more than what they approved. But here you are. Not just more. Too much, too sharp, too bright, too alive, too unapologetic. So now they whisper, "She's not the same. He's changed. They're acting different." And they're right. Because you died, didn't you? You died in the silence. You died in the betrayal. You died every time you held your tongue to keep the peace. You died every time you let someone walk all over your soul and still called it love. But then something broke. Something beautiful. Something final. Something monstrous. And the person they once knew? Gone. Buried. Never coming back. The thing that rose from that grave, not human, not tame, not explainable. They saw the glimmer in your eye and thought it was hope. It wasn't. It was hunger. It was vengeance. It was clarity. You don't play their games anymore. You don't beg anymore. You don't chase anymore. You don't hide anymore. And now they call you a monster. Perfect. Because monsters don't beg for love. Monsters take their power back. Monsters know the rules and break them anyway. And you learned the darkest, most sacred truth of all. They never hated the monster. They hated the freedom it gave you. Because now you say what they're too scared to say. Now you walk away when they expect you to stay. Now you burn the bridge they thought they had you chained to. You look them in the eye, the same people who used to control your every move. And you smile. That cold, perfect smile that says, "I remember who I used to be, and I buried them for a reason." You didn't lose yourself. You found yourself in the wreckage, and the version of you that emerged, not here to be liked, not here to be fixed, not here to be understood. You are here to remind them what happens when you shove someone into the dark and expect them to stay soft. Remind them what happens when you silence someone who was born to scream. Remind them what happens when you corner a heart long enough. It grows teeth. You didn't turn cold. You turned clear. Clear about who you are. Clear about who's not coming with you. Clear about what you'll never tolerate again. So when they say you've changed, you're different. You're not the same person. Smile. Because that's the highest compliment they could ever give. That's the sign that the spell is broken. You're not the servant anymore. You're the storm. You're not the light they could dim. You're the inferno they can't look at. You're not human? No. You're something they can't define. And that's exactly what makes you unstoppable. Let's make something very clear. You didn't lose your humanity. You outgrew it. Because what they call human, it's a cage, a checklist. Be soft, be polite, be obedient, smile more, shrink smaller, speak sweeter. Obey. And when you don't, when you scream instead of smile, when you walk instead of wait, when you fight instead of flinch. They call you the monster, as if that word should shame you, as if you didn't already own it. You see, they're used to domesticated light, candles in churches, lamps in quiet corners, software, predictable, safe. But your light is feral. It burns, it blinds, it exposes, it devours. You are not the flicker of some fragile flame. You are the thing that burns down the entire forest, just to make sure nothing grows in your shadow again. They wanted you to be the sun? Too bad. You became the supernova. And now their world trembles because you don't ask anymore. You take. You don't warn anymore. You erupt. You don't explain anymore. You let the silence do the bleeding. They saw a glimpse, just a glimpse, of what lies behind your eyes, and now they're choking on their own words. Because that version of you they once clung to, gone, buried beneath the wreckage of your own resurrection, they don't get to summon the old you anymore. That version died quietly. So this one could be born screaming. You were made in the fire. You survived things that should have unmade you. You crawled through realities that left others in ruins. You held your soul together with barbed wire while still whispering love into people who never earned it. And now they act surprised. Now they call you cold because you stopped handing out warmth to those who only ever came close to steal it. No. Let them talk. Let them shake. Let them write stories about you in hushed tones. The friend who changed. The lover who snapped. The child who became too dark. Let them pray to whatever God they think will save them, because they should be scared. You earned that fear. You're not human? Good. You are the reminder that not everything forged in pain comes back gentle. Some come back as weapons. And darling, you came back nuclear. Let's stop pretending. You weren't built like the rest of them. You weren't born into comfort. You were tempered. You were carved out of isolation. While they were held, you were dropped. While they were celebrated, you were tolerated. While they were nurtured, you were told to toughen up. You were taught to bite your tongue so hard it bled, taught to smile while suffocating, taught to endure, not express. And when you finally stopped performing, when you snapped the leash and looked back at them without fear in your eyes, they said you were lost. No, you were never lost. You were just done being found by people who only wanted to use you. You see, there's something terrifying about a soul that finally accepts it was never meant to fit in. It doesn't beg, it doesn't chase, it doesn't explain. It simply walks away. And that is the most dangerous kind of power. You became untouchable the day you realized you don't owe anyone softness just because they knew you when you were silent. But you don't owe your past self a slow death in the present. You don't owe apologies for being harder to manipulate now. You became what they couldn't control, and so they called it evil. You became what they couldn't predict, and so they called it chaos. You became what they could no longer stand next to. Because standing next to you now means standing naked. Every mask, every lie, every illusion shattered by your presence alone. You are no longer safe. You are sacred. You are not soft. You are Zovran. And monsters. Monsters are just saints that refuse to keep turning the other cheek. You didn't want revenge. You wanted peace. But peace isn't always soft, is it? Sometimes peace means obliteration. Sometimes peace means burning the bridge while smiling at the smoke. Sometimes peace is walking away while they scream your name, realizing you'll never look back. You are not the villain. You are the lesson. You are the price they pay for thinking your loyalty was weakness. You are the echo in their mind when they realize, we pushed the wrong one. You were never human? Maybe not. Maybe you were divine rage in disguise. Maybe you were the storm the universe built to remind the world what happens when you betray purity too many times. You were the light, and they made you into the fire, and now the fire walks. You see, there's a silence that comes after the last scream. There's a stillness that settles in after you've torn out your own soul, examined it under the cold light, and decided no more. That's where you were reborn. Not in the light, not in love, but in the decision to never go back. Let them call you whatever they want. Let them spit the word monster with trembling lips. Let them weaponize your pain as proof of your destruction. Let them, because what they don't understand is, you were never trying to be good. You were trying to be whole. And now that you are, now that you've gathered every shattered piece, stitched them together with your own blood, looked into the abyss, and smiled. Now they tremble, not because you're a danger to them, but because they know they can't touch you anymore. Not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually, not even if they begged. You've become untouchable. That's the price of resurrection, isn't it? You stop needing approval. You stop needing permission. You stop needing the hands that once held you down to suddenly start lifting you up. You rise alone. You no longer seek comfort. You become the discomfort in every room that demanded your silence. You are the truth they hoped would never find its voice. You are the karma wrapped in skin. You are the storm that doesn't knock on the door. You tear it off the hinges. And oh, how they hate it. They hate that you won't explain anymore. They hate that you won't bow anymore. They hate that you smile now with that scarred knowing. You smile like someone who knows exactly what they survived, and it kills them, because it reminds them that they built their peace on your silence. And now, you're louder than ever. You are not human? No. You're the consequence of years of betrayal, dressed in resilience, with eyes like loaded weapons. You're what happens when a soul chooses self-respect over survival. When a heart that's been broken 1,000 times decides it's done bleeding for unworthy hands. And when they ask, when did you become so cold? When did you stop caring? What happened to you? You tell them this: I stopped sacrificing myself on the altar of your comfort. I stopped dying to keep the peace. I stopped watering dead gardens just so you wouldn't feel guilty walking away. I burned it all, and in the flames, I found myself, the real me. Not the obedient shadow, not the nice version, not the tame one, the digestible one, the smiling puppet. The sovereign soul, the one who laughs at threats, the one who walks through fire barefoot and dares it to try and consume her again. You are not a monster, you are the mirror. The mirror that shows them who they really are when there's no mask left to wear. The mirror they smashed once, only to find their reflection still staring back, stronger than ever. Undaunted. You survived what they couldn't even imagine, and you came back unrecognizable. And that is your revenge. Not violence, not rage, just existence. Existing as your full, terrifying, unapologetic, divine self.